Welcome to the Video Ranch Studios, John Cerney.
Thank you, Nez. Happy to be here.
How far are we from Marfa? Do you know by all chance?
1,200 and some odd miles, 1,230
Okay.
or something like that.
And when do we leave from Marfa?
Well, I'll be there ahead of you.
Yeah.
I got to set up this thing. I'm leaving Friday, and I'll be there on Monday night, surveying the land.
How long do you think it'll take you to build it?
3 or 4 days. I have a crew of 4 friends helping me out. It took 3 months to paint, but it should take about 3 days to put up.
So, and it screws together basically.
Yeah, concrete.
And this is basically a banner for what you're doing, and a gold star for where Marfa is, which is in the middle of nowhere. But we're going to make it somewhere. That car is going to be there.
That's only it. That's a piece of it. There'll be, I'll give you I'll show you.
Yeah, show and tell.
The entire mural.
Move it toward the camera.
You see there's the car. I decided to have Rock Hudson driving the car. James Dean, iconic shot of James Dean. Not actually from the movie, but a still from the movie. And the iconic mansion in the background.
Right.
Although I'll be showing the mansion in a dilapidated state years after the filming, because it's more interesting to me than the nice shiny mural. And Elizabeth Taylor, and we'll be back there as well.
Little tiny Liz.
Well, what I'm wanting to do is play with the perspective of the viewer driving by in their cars.
Yeah.
The mansion is 80 foot tall in reality on a set. I can't build an 80 foot tall. I can't do it. I'm not an engineer. It would take me forever to do. So I've got it about 16 foot tall by having a small little Liz Taylor.
You force the perspective.
Force the perspective. It'll be set back a ways, so I'm hoping that when you drive by, it'll bring the mansion back to the viewer's memory of the movie.
Well, all the work that you've done around here, which, for those of you who don't know, is the Monterey Peninsula area and the Carmel Valley, has that forced perspective. I remember when I saw the first piece of the 2 giant guys.
Field workers?
The field workers,
Yeah.
And it was fantastic because they were huge, and then suddenly I looked down and I saw the intersection. And so here are these guys like this, and I look down and I see the stop signs like this, which was a real great way to mess with my reality at the time.
Well, I hear from people who say that it scares them, these giant images.
Yeah.
And when I first started doing the giant images, I didn't know how big to make them. I didn't know, because I used to work life-size. And I learned early on, when I was putting my life-size figures next to a building or wherever, that it's too hard to see when you're driving by. What was that? What was that? I needed to make it a more comfortable thing when you drive by to see my work.
Yeah.
So I guessed, 16 foot tall seems like a good size. I can get giant posts, 20 foot posts, stick them in the ground.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll work. Well, I kind of stuck with that ever since. So.
Well, and when you change the size of it, when you drive by at X miles an hour, it goes from that to that.
Yes. Yeah.
And you get the train look of it, and that's when it turns into magic for me.
Oh, yeah. And I really, I learned from billboards. People, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They want as many seconds on your eyes to see clearly the message as you're driving by. So I angle them like billboards are angled, so you don't worry about the other side of the traffic. You worry about the one side of the traffic closest to the road. And you can get 3 or 4 seconds. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the other side. They'll see it because they'll be going the other way eventually, and they'll see it.
How do you compare? This is a wrong question. Just take it and do whatever you need to with it, because I don't have any preconceived notions. How do you compare this to Prada?
Well, when I was first introduced to the Prada Marfa in 2005, it was erected. I was told by people, you got to go to Marfa. I'd never heard of Marfa.
Oh.
But I'd heard about this art piece before I did the town. I loved it because it was out of place.
Yes.
And my things are out of place.
Yes.
Why here? And it's a message it's sending these artists that. And I love that.
Yeah.
But I love more than anything that it's out of place.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder. I need that part of the viewer. Why? I want them to think about it. Why is this here?
Yeah.
Their message might have been consumerism. Mine's not so deep, maybe, but I like the idea of putting something. My little entertaining things are just in the middle of nowhere. I need that. I don't want it next to a Walmart or a gas station.
No.
Nothing around it, because your mind is in a place. You're lulled.
Yeah.
And you're driving. Whoa!
Yeah.
I want that moment.
Yeah. Well, that's the moment you get when you're driving down that long road off of the interstate that goes through El Paso, and you got 183 miles to Marfa, and on a 2-lane.
Yeah.
And and as far as you can see in both directions,
Yes.
you can't. It's flat.
Yeah.
Flat, and somewhere out there is the western wind.
Yeah.
But it was the idea that one of these pieces up here would show up in Marfa as a kind of a transit quality to the piece itself.
Yes.
In other words, the piece starts to live. And how didn't I see that? But no, you didn't. That was a 57 Chevrolet that was on the side of a car shop, and it connects in that way. I've stood outside that piece of yours down on Fremont?
Oh, Del Monte?
Del Monte.
Yeah.
For an hour eating a taco from Jose's across the way, studying a picture. Because the detail of it is fine. And there's something else too, John, that goes to your work, but you can tell me I'm crazy and just shut up if you want. There's a reality that occurs when you change the perspective that we don't have unless you change the perspective. So when that happens, for me, it made the hair stand up on my arms. That's what happened with the two field workers. And I said, Victoria, did you see that? And Victoria said, what? And I said, no, that's not generous enough. And I said, what? And I said, that right there, do you see that? No. So he turned around and went back and took a look at it. And I said, look at the perspective. That's 400 acres of lettuce heads behind them. And these two giant figures with the thing. And I thought at that very moment that I have to call this man and see if he'll make something for my house or for something. And Jessica and I, who was my assistant at the time, just started talking about it nonstop. We got to call Cerney, we got to have him do it. And then we were pulling into her shop, which is that grocery store in downtown Carmel Valley Village. And she said, I'm going to call John Cerney and see if he can do one of my children on the side of this building. I said, oh, if you do that, I'll pay for it. She said, well, I think I can pay for it, but I said, that's a community contribution of the first order. And I think it is. I mean, I go by that and I just smile. We went and had something to eat at the store. Just got out front of a mural and just looked at it. But it's not a mural. My mother did a mural. I'm doing all the talking. I'm sorry, I'm going to shut up.
That's okay.
My mother did a mural in a theater in Texas, and I was fascinated by the technique. And I wonder if you would mind, because they seem a little mundane to you, but it's fascinating to me. How do you get these things to match up? Aren't you doing some sort of high-value calc in there?
No, low-value calc.
Low-value calc?
No, because there are no rules.
Of course.
There's no rules.
Okay.
The mock-up I just showed you, I'm guessing. Here I have a giant James Dean.
Uh-huh.
I have a pretty good-sized 51 Ford with Rock Hudson driving it.
Yeah.
I have a medium-sized mansion in the background, and I have a tiny Liz Taylor. I'm guessing that the effect will be what it'll be. And then I'm not wrong or right. It'll be what it'll be.
Yeah.
And people will do what they want with it.
Well, you've also got James Dean up there as Thor.
Yeah.
You know, he's got both hammers in his hands, and he's bigger than all of it.
I know.
Isn't he?
It's a crucifixion kind of a thing,
Yeah,
too. It looks
yeah.
like. And I'm a James Dean fan, so he had to be the biggest one. But, since there's no rules, I don't worry about it. I sign off on whatever's going to happen, but I'm thinking about it. Every night I'm thinking about it.
Of course.
When I go to bed, should Liz Taylor be 4 foot tall? Or maybe life size, 6 foot tall? I don't know. The mansion, I'm thinking a lot of things. Then I just have to make a decision.
Uh-huh.
But I'm really excited about this.
Do you do it on the spot? Make the decision on the spot? Nah, we got to lose 4 feet off of Liz Taylor, take it off of the bottom.
Well, when I'm making my little squares for each each piece is done in a grid system. There's a point where I made the decision, and it might be just, okay, damn it, just do it.
Uh-huh.
Like instead of 6-inch squares, they're 5-inch squares.
I see.
Then I've decided.
And that scales the whole thing up.
That scales it up. Each one is different, but I wanted them to be relative to each other in a certain way. And but I didn't know the part about you turning around and seeing my work and thinking about doing something for yourself.
Yeah.
But what it led to ultimately was one of the best ideas for the mural is that there's sound coming from that car,
Oh, yeah.
which is not my idea. It was your idea.
Well, actually, it was Terry Allen's idea.
Because you had worked with Terry Allen.
That's right.
Terry project.
Well, he did that thing at Austin Contemporary. If you guys can find an Austin Contemporary
It's a great piece.
picture,
Yeah.
And it's called Road Angel. It's a 1952 wrecked Chevrolet Bel Air. And I thought, what an inspired idea.
Yes.
And so, did you ever see it installed? I mean, not in
A video of it. I've seen videos and pictures.
Yeah. Well, the video is moving to me as well, because here's this wrecked car, and in the video I have, there is a patron and her son. You assume it's her son. She's in her 20s and he's in his 30s, and they're walking around the car, and there's nobody else there, and Mom is a little clueless. First of all, because it's an installed statue of a bronze 1952 Chevrolet in the middle of the yard, and second of all, because of why is this here? What makes this happen? And as she and I have this captured on video, and as she walks back and forth, the little boy, I think it says something along the line of, "Is there music, or is there a radio?" Or he says something that's way off of perspective and size, and she says, "Well, there could be," or something like that, and that's all that's mentioned, and you can barely hear it. But there's enough sound that you can hear it, and there are people up in the background unloading picnic baskets and stuff and getting ready to sit down and have a picnic next to the wrecked Chevy. Wow. And I thought it was so incredible for Terry to have put that together, and I had just finished working with him on another installed piece at the museum, the actual museum house. And in that, he had called for music from people who were steeped in that Texas culture. So I sent him a song called Dance of Mother and Child. And he said, "This is the weirdest song ever in the world, but I'm putting it in because I love it. And it's just exactly right." So when Jess said, let's do this with John, he's on for it, and all we have to do is pay for it. And I said, "That's simple on our side." I said, "But how about contributions?" She said, "Well, why don't you come up with some music like Terry did?" So that's where the music came from his idea and pushing it forward into our desk.
Well, it's kind of a seminal moment for me, because I'd worked with Jess and Jerome on their daughter on the side of their market, and she sent me an email because she must have shown you the mock-up, which I showed you, and he said, "Michael Nesmith," I didn't even know she was working for you at the time. Yeah. Michael Nesmith seems to think that there should be music coming from that car. My first thought was, first of all, the Michael Nesmith? He thinks there should be music? I'm not going to doubt that, but I hadn't thought about it. Then I started thinking logistically, well, wait a minute, people are driving by. How are they going to hear the music? Right. Well, nowadays, people stop. Everybody stops. And they're going to stop for this. I know they will. Yeah. To take their selfie. And it would be a very cool thing. There's music drifting out of that car. Yeah. It's Western music. And you didn't ask for it, but I wanted your music because I love your music. Yeah. And that's what it's going to be that.
Well, it wasn't the first time you did it because of the incredible installation of trees.
Yes.
The one
San Diego.
Oh, yeah. And I remember, I think it was either my mother or it was my wife at the time said, "You've got to go see this." And, so then I backed into it, did all the research that was available on the web and so forth, after I'd seen it. But when I walked through there, I thought, this is the incorporation of sound in one of these things that makes it much more lifelike.
Yes.
It's like being in front of a motion picture of a waterfall, and then hearing a speaker playing the waterfall someplace else.
Yes.
It just starts to envelop. And
More of the senses are involved.
Yeah.
It'll be more memorable for the viewer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They'll think of that moment. Music. Wow.
Yeah. Well, and you know, when I did the First National Band, that was what I was trying to do with the First National Band, was to expand the moments, to get the ideas. To my great good fortune, Red Rhodes, who was a steel player I had.
You love that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he, I tell this story from the stage, but, you know, he was playing these celestial riffs and stuff that he did. He's no longer with us. And he was uncomfortable with it and not really making it all work, I thought, in the way that he wanted it. And he said, I just can't get myself set into it. And I always felt like Red rode the steel guitar like, you know, the barrel racers ride a pony. I mean, you're thinking the same thing faster than either one communicates with the other. You're just doing it according to the great mind, making it work. And I said, Red, that is fantastic. How do you get those ideas? He said, oh, I don't know. I just go. But, you know, I just feel like I'm getting sicker and I don't feel good and so on and so forth. And every time I start to do it, I start to smoke. And every time I start to smoke, I start to feel bad. And I said, well, have you ever tried this? And he said, oh, yeah, I got all kinds of marijuana around. I grow it in my closet. I got 100 plants in there. And he said, I give them to my friends. And I said, well, try smoking some of it and try playing after you smoke. And he said, well, I don't know. It burns my throat. And I said, well, you have to smoke it, then you can do an edible. Because edibles don't have any effect other than just to get you swacked. Yeah. And he said, okay. And he did. And, well, the story about it, he said, well, what can I eat it with? I said, any edible substrate's going to work. You know, licorice, whatever you want.
Cookie.
A cookie, whatever, or a brownie. And he said, well, how about Jif peanut butter? And I said, sounds good to me. So he got himself one of those little quart jars of Jif peanut butter, and he poured a whole coffee sack of clean grass that he got out of his garage, and it was, man, the aroma from that thing. And he got a wooden spoon and stirred it all up until it turned, you know, it was the Emerald City in there. And then he stuffed the spoon in it and took a bite of it. And he said, yeah, I can work with this, and set it down and started playing stuff that never came out of a steel guitar ever in his life. It was as if Hendrix had suddenly discovered another instrument or started to play the contrabass bassoon. It's like, what? But as these notes and the shards of the notes and the networks of the notes and the waterfall of the notes started to issue from his instrument, I realized I was in the presence of something. My God. And same thing with what you're doing here. This is all coming from a place that we all recognize. Of course, Red knew it cold, and it brings something that's not there if we don't do it. You know what I mean? If we don't do it, it doesn't happen.
It makes me want to go buy some peanut butter and see, did Red leave anything for?
No, listen, I got so much dope around now that it's legal. I started to buy the whole store. Everything, I'll take everything.
That's right, it's legal though.
That's right, it's legal. It is here anyway.
Oh, be careful in Texas though, right?
No, not in Texas. In Texas, don't hold.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea. Oh, no. Don't hold. In Texas, don't hold. But if you're coming down to Texas, stop for a minute and listen.
We no longer.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. I thought
I was just going to say you can talk about the raffle.
Okay, now we got to get to the raffle.
Oh.
Because we're going to have.
That's what you left me then, yeah.
We're going to have a little bit of an ado.
Yeah.
You're going down, I'm going down, I'm taking the First National Band down. We're setting up a stage. The Wyatts, who own the ranch that this installation is going into, put in a stage for us. Well, they're not putting it for, we're building it, but I mean, they're allowing us to put it there. So we're going to have a presence of the First National Band there, and then what's the name of the place that we're playing the Poseidon?
The Hotel Paisano.
The Hotel Paisano. We've got that thing going
Historic
on there.
Hotel Paisano.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the cast of Giant stayed. during the filming in 1955.
Do they have those rooms still marked by Elizabeth Taylor?
Yes, the Rock Hudson Suite, the Elizabeth Taylor Suite, and the James Dean room. Not a suite, not as nice. The James Dean room is the only room that they haven't redecorated. They kept it as is. It's a little rustic, but people ask for it. It's always being used.
Yeah.
So I had this created with a graphic designer, the image, for the event on the Saturday night, the 20th of October. Just to let people know in the lobby of the Paisano, this is where it's happening. There'll be a dinner, and then followed by, at 7:30, by Michael Nesmith,
Dinner
First
and a
National
show.
Band, in the courtyard of the Paisano. So you and I will sign 2 of these prints, and we're raffling them off because it's a big production. I'm donating the mural, but there's a lot of costs involved with your band,
Yep.
you yourself, your people, my friends coming to help me install it. So, and the Chamber of Commerce have been very gracious, and they're paying my hotel expenses. But we're raffling off at $10 a ticket, 6 for $50. If you want to go crazy, 15 for $100. For the chance to win these 2 signed prints, 24 by 36 on a nice satin canvas print. We'll have the winner that night on the 20th, and we'll notify them by email afterwards.
These are going to go in the living room of some fabulous home in some fabulous place, because it's especially if you bookend them on a wall. If the same person got both of them.
Well,
Does the other one point the other way?
no.
They both point the same way?
Yeah.
So
I didn't have time to get crazy. And the raffle closes on the 20th of October. So you can buy them in Marfa if you're there. Small town. We're running out of hotel rooms.
Can they buy them at the Hotel Paisano?
We'll have a link online so they can buy
There'll be a
them
link
from
to
anywhere.
it, yeah.
Yeah. The best place is online. Get online and hang out and look at this stuff and go take a look through John's catalog and through the music catalogs. I think this is some of the most inspired work being done today on the artistic scene in the United States.
Well, thanks so much.
At a certain point, this is going to spread. This is one of those points.
Well, I hope, I hope I don't get too anxious about, people wanting, this happens sometimes. If I get a little burst and all of a sudden I get calls for stuff that, as I get older, I don't want to do everything that people ask me to do.
Yeah.
And they get upset with me. You don't want to paint my little baby Jesus for
Aren't
my
you?
garden? I'd love to. If I had nothing else to do, I would do your baby Jesus, but no.
Yeah.
I only have so many projects left in me. Yeah.
Is there any way we can fit him into the trunk of James Dean's 52 Ford or Rock Hudson's? Is that a 52?
51
It's a 51.
Ford Deluxe. They didn't have cute names like Impala back then, for the
No,
Ford didn't.
I know.
Yeah, convertible.
Yeah.
It was actually sandalwood beige in the movie. Every piece I've done is a little bit off kilter from what the actual
Well,
movie
of
was.
course.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be? What else are you going to do? You get in that world, you can do anything.
Yeah. So,
Do you remember those cars from the 60s that were painted in paisley colors and painted like rainbows?
no. Factory?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It was the custom car thing. It was
Like John Lennon did with his Rolls Royce?
exactly like
Okay.
John, and what Tom Wolfe described in Candy Colored Tangerine Flake Streamline Baby. Those were showing up all over LA, and there was one which was a BMW 2-door, a little sedan.
2002?
Yeah, I'd say, and no.
I mean the model.
Oh, the model, yeah.
Yeah.
No, this was well, maybe it's a 2002. I don't know. It's just a 2-door
Okay.
and high performance. And this guy who was not of Los Angeles, but from some other place, I'm going to say Middle East perhaps, showed up with this car and went over to a painter and said, "Can you give me a rainbow across it, front to back, and like that?" And that was the first one I ever saw, and it was a traffic stopper. If he was he was a red light, nobody moved until he did. And it was, you started to see that all kinds of places, and then it started to get odd. They make that car into a pineapple, and they do all kinds of stuff. But there was something in the way they were messing with the reality of the car and how it occupies its space.
Yeah.
And that's what you've done here. It's just you mess with it just enough. So it gives it flavor. I think it's an outstanding, magnificent work.
Well, thank you.
I can't wait to get my hands dirty digging the post holes for it.
Oh, good.
It's going to be good. Now, are you going to be willing to come up and sing a song with us? I'm kidding. I'm
going to tell you, you sang, what's the, I can't. I tried it at karaoke a few times, and I was so bad that the audience got listless and
They called the police.
ignored me. No, they ignored me, which is the worst. It's worse than even being booed.
But you can't remember the song?
No, I'll come up with it.
Well, don't come up with it. No, I don't want to put you on the spot for a fact. It's hard enough for me to get up there and do it. I have to leave every last vestige of self-respect at home. And go and just say, you're going to get blown by the mighty winds. So set your sails.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. No. I like to be, I'm a showman,
Yeah.
but I don't want to be talking about it or be the spotlight on me.
No, yeah.
I leave it, and then, good, I hope you enjoy it.
You editorialize the place. Well, let's see. Now, this is we're selling stuff here from this Marfa thing. We hope you all come, but you all know that it's an arduous trip and that it is a very remote, and it's one of the most fabulous places on the planet. So if you can come, please do come. And if you come, bring sacks of money so you can buy the artworks that are around there, because they're exquisite, not the least of which are John's. Now, have we done, I'm talking to the lady who's shooting it. Have we done everything we're supposed to do?
Yes, thank you.
I can't do it right now because she's creaking around, but Jessica Cantu has been instrumental in putting this thing together. I'll be glad to get you on camera.
Yes, I'd be nowhere without Jessica, by the way. She was with
Neither
me
one
from the
of us
start.
would.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, thanks, Jessica.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Many thanks to you. And to Anais for lending us her pretty little infant body to put on the stage. I'm appropriating your work. I'm sorry. Well, I'm looking forward to this as much as I have any Christmas. I mean, this is just going to be a great time.
Oh, that's great. Wow.